this display is probably the last...
excuse the dog making as much noise as possible.
The last series of figures we've got specifically created to represent or come out of a certain episode. For a long time anyway, because we've got an Oswin Oswald, who was in a 2-pack with the Snowmen Doctor. We've got 3 Asylum Daleks that came out of an Asylum of the Daleks set. So, specific things designed for this episode. But do you know what's the most impressive thing here on this display?
Go on.
I'm just going to hand it to you and I want you to describe it.
Okay.
Right? What's that?
It's a small hat.
No? What is it?
It's a burnt souffle.
A tiny burnt souffle toy.
That's quite a good detail.
That's a cute little accessory, isn't it?
It's quite funny.
Considering your Oswin Oswald action figure is not going anywhere, she's just going to sit there with her souffle. Because I suppose, technically, this might also be an Oswin action figure. Spoilers! Welcome back to Doctor Who Review. We've been marathoning this damn show since 2018, from Hartnell to Hard Knock Life. We're in Series 7A. I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And this is the beginning, officially, of my growing disinterest in the modern era, back when it was broadcasting.
La 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 la, me too. Yeah.
Now, that's not to say this series isn't without its highlights. I think this series is definitely stronger than Season 6, although on our reappraisal of that, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we did.
With most of the stories. So,
what are you on about?
will we have a bit of a revision of this? Who knows? But we're also in a territory...
I'm going to make a prediction.
Go on.
Probably not.
I don't know, man, because... Out of the 3...
I don't know,
could you tilt that fan this way slightly, sorry? Out of the 3... We're recording this in May, and it's getting to that creepy, humid,
It's
warm as
muggy,
balls
muggy.
period. Yeah.
Proper muggy.
We,
It's very close, guy.
it's very close. Out of the 3 that we've watched for this video, I'm pleasantly surprised by how I felt, considering what I recalled of these stories.
Okay.
So, what was up first? What was the first episode of Series 7 proper that we watched?
Asylum of the Daleks.
What? Again, like, spoilers abound. If you haven't seen it, don't stick around, but
Oh.
really,
Well,
you know,
that's
really,
nice.
really loose summary. What was the plot of Asylum of the Daleks?
Daleks are in trouble and need the Doctor's help. They don't know who he is, though. Do they?
They do. That was quick, wasn't it? That was real quick.
I thought the thing was that they didn't know who he was.
Nope, they know who he is. No, that's at the end of the episode. His supposed death at the end of Series 6 meant the universe thought he was dead, which meant he was going to keep a low profile because no one would expect him to be around
We did
anymore.
a video on the dinosaurs on a...
No, that's in this one.
Oh.
Wow.
I was going to say...
Yeah, no, the Daleks...
Confused.
The Daleks believe him to be dead, except... Everyone believes him to be dead, except the Daleks, I guess, were like, no, we found you. So that was quick. Like, complete waste of that setup and premise, really.
Yeah.
The Daleks do forget who he is at the end of this episode, and then that gets completely changed, like it was nothing in the Christmas special of this, not the one in the middle of the series, but the Smith's last story, which is after this series. Yeah. That gets redone completely as though it was nothing, so it was pointless.
Well,
yeah,
so it was going down on a spaceship.
Spaceship?
Yeah, it was a spaceship, wasn't
it? It's a planet.
Was it a planet?
It's a planet. It's an asylum for the Daleks. It's where broken and unbalanced and incredibly violent Daleks go. Essentially, it's like a forced decommission. It's like a prison where they can just rot away and presumably eventually die.
Can Daleks die?
Yeah, they can expire eventually. They're a mutated life form. Keep in mind that the tank that they drive around in keeps them alive.
What do Daleks eat?
It depends on what era, what writer and stuff. I don't think in the show they've ever really talked about it.
Are they herbivores or are they...
There's some stuff that says they don't require stuff to omnivores what? Yeah, I think we're getting way off track already.
Do Daleks sleep?
Yeah, I mean, according to this, supposedly, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Because these ones were like just slumbering away, weren't they?
Can you sing a Dalek a lullaby and it'll go to sleep? What do Daleks eat?
Oh my god.
Do they like dessert?
Oh my god. Well, maybe they like souffle.
It was a lead-in.
No, it wasn't.
No.
the basic premise of this story is fun. The Doctor and companions are thrust into essentially a prison for psychotic Daleks.
Crazy Daleks.
And they've got to lower the defences so that the Daleks outside of it can blow up that planet and get rid of it, basically, because they're scared of what's going on or what could happen or whatever. And meanwhile, there's someone trapped there that's been there for a year who is able to kind of hack into the systems and help the Doctor and friends out. And, of course, the big old twist being that that person isn't really a person anymore, even though they believe themselves to be. That basic premise and setup, really intriguing, really fun.
Yeah.
The stuff starting out on the surface and then making their way into the asylum, fun, cool idea. There's some great things in this. Right, before we begin, let's just talk about what is really good in this. The Parliament of the Daleks looks really good. That big mix of visual effects doubling up, like action figures being used for model shots, like, it looks cool. One of them, there being like a chairman or a prime minister or something, like, in this chamber that's got more of a Saki character personality, and it's just a floating mutant in a tube is cool.
How did they get it out?
You've never thought that before when we've had loads of other Dalek-based things that look like that. Yeah, they can move, some of them. But anyway, you've got the Dalek Supreme, the white one is also there, so a Dalek Supreme's still around.
Yes.
We've got one shiny chrome red drone prop in there. And
shiny chrome
that's it. This is like the end of these guys being used at all. In fact, that red shiny chrome one is likely the one that was in the reception area of Roflock Studios. So I've probably seen that one in Poison.
In Poison?
In Poison!
In Poison!
But the Bronze Boys are just back in full force by this point. There's no hiding that they've gone, yeah, forget it. They don't, despite these action figures, I don't even think they've got any of the new Paradigm Daleks in the Asylum. Like, even though they made this box set of toys, I don't think either of those designs appear in the Asylum. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, please. But, like, I mean, look, there they are. They've been made up. They've got the stamps on them and the dirt and everything. And yet I don't think a single one looking like one of these two... Screw off, Matt. A single one looking like one of these two appear in the Asylum. There's a lot of bronze ones.
Oh, sorry, right, I'm sorry. Because they were on the ship, weren't they?
Yeah, there was a Supreme and a drone on the ship, and that was it.
I like this shiny red boy.
We've just had a whole conversation
I'm just saying I like it.
Oh god, Daleks get brought into it and your brain immediately goes, don't want. But we'll get into that.
Yes.
We'll get into that.
We will.
Despite the marketing around this episode saying, oh, these classic Daleks are being brought back, they're really not. There's like 2 or 3 in the background. But I think that's right. I think it would be too much fan wank if it was just, look, there's this one here, there's that one there. The fact that there was, like, at one point we saw, like, a 60s blue and silver boy in the background.
Yeah, we had to pause it to see.
And there's a Genesis-looking grey one at one point, and then there's the Special Weapons Dalek who sort of gets a bit more of a close-up shot at one point.
But not gratuitously.
Yeah, but it is also...
How the heck?
Gratuitous.
Gratuitous.
But it is also weird that it's like meant to be full of Daleks, and the majority of them are bronze ones. Now, if there was like a throwaway line of many of them driven mad during the events of the Time War, you could go, all right, sure, because we've all kind of assumed that those are the ones that were in the Time War now.
Do you think it's because they had maybe stock footage of, or like pre-programmed rows of Daleks?
I'm talking about in the Asylum. In the Parliament, that's a mixture of toys and model shots that are duplicated. But I mean, in the Asylum itself, there's like... I kind of like...
Maybe it's because they were like, oh, these are a bit shit, let's put them on this planet.
I don't know. I mean, I know that they recalled as many props as they could for it. So the fact that you don't really see a variety of them is weird, but I think that that's for the best in-episode, because it would be too distracting if it was just a game of Spot the Dalek every 5 seconds.
Oh, excuse me, I yawn.
I really like the Oswin Oswald subplot.
Okay.
I think it's really well done. I think the setup and the eventual payoff is great, because it is sort of the very first time you watch it, I remember watching it in 2012 and being like, wait, what? Like, huh? Because you think that, the souffle, where did you get the milk? Like, you think that that's just a throwaway little joke line. And then he brings it up again later and you're like, oh, it's really bothering him. And then the payoff is the rule of 3 of that is, no, like, it was a legitimate question. Where the hell was she getting the milk? Well, she wasn't, because none of it's real. It's a delusion she's created to basically stave off going insane from the fact that her body and mind were used and mutated into a Dalek mutant.
Why was she chained up?
Well, we'll get to that in the negatives. I love the cinematography of this one. I think all the stuff on the surface of the planet looks amazing. I like the idea of the nanobots being used to create sentries for Daleks. It feels weird that they had people that they sent out to talk to the Doctor. That feels weird. And like one of them being on Skaro. I was like, oh wait, Skaro still exists? I thought it was blown up in Remembrance of the Daleks. Like, okay, I guess it's just and one of the buildings on Skaro is just a giant statue of a Dalek now?
How did they build it?
Well, exactly, that's weird, but...
Maybe they got a giant 3D printer.
But the idea of the Dalek zombies is sort of like it's a nice modern spin on the Robo-Men, in a way. Even if it's hilarious that their palms fold away like paper for the guns to come out. It's like, wait, what? But I get it. Like, you know, we've had this before, Robo-Men in Dalek Invasion of Earth. Like, we've had the whole thing of they can turn people into automated puppets.
Okay.
Yeah, when the gun comes out of their palms,
the
visual effect just looks like
origami.
It looks like origami. Well, yeah, it looks like you've just torn through a brown paper bag instead of flesh moving.
Like when you're in school.
Or like it feels like it should be like an extra barrel comes out and then the gun comes out of the barrel, and instead it's just like it's going rip. It's like, oh, that's weird.
It's like one of them things.
So their arms are hollow. Why would no one notice that their arms would be flapping around?
You kind of did that with.
Yeah,
I don't even see my hands.
You can. I get what you mean. Yeah.
Look, pick your favourite colour. Banana.
Oh, joke's on you, exterminate. Eggs. I do like that moment.
Okay.
It's stupid and weird.
Sure.
But I like the idea of Dalek zombies. I think the idea of that is utilised at its best when we see the entire dead crew in that ship. And that penny drop moment of, oh, that guy has also been... Like we thought, oh yeah, that's right. I died outside on the mountain.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that is used really well. I like the ticking clock notion of Amy losing the wristband so that the nanobots are going to start like converting her really slowly into one of these drones. Like, that's a nice ticking clock. The way that's portrayed as her just hallucinating this odd sort of this ball, like this old school like gathering of people, mostly sort of like 1920s 30s vibes, is wonderfully odd and nightmarish. Like the fact one of them, when you cut to the realisation it's just a Dalek twirling around on the spot, like as its motor's broken, but she just sees this girl doing ballet in the middle of the room. Like, there's an interesting idea there, the idea of what do these nanobots do to people, where they kind of break them down very slowly, and this is how she's perceiving her mind being switched off.
Here's a question. Are these Daleks that have gone AWOL? Or are these
not
Daleks
gone against the Daleks?
Or are they Daleks that have been turned...
Like forced mutation.
From people that have landed on that planet?
One of them is, because that's the twist, but not necessarily all of them.
All of them.
Now, then again, we don't know how long some of them have been there. Some of them might be bronze ones from the end of Series 1, where the Dalek Emperor has basically been mulching humans into new Dalek mutants for ages. Like,
it just seems like there's a lot of them that have been turned since that Asylum was there.
Well, but we've only seen that once in the modern series, and that was Bad Wolf and Parting in the Ways. Oh, no, not Bad Wolf and Parting. Yeah, Bad Wolf and Parting in the Ways. Everyone who was supposedly killed at the game station was taken to the Dalek ship and mutated into a Dalek mutant. So, I guess... But then the whole thing with the new paradigm, they came in like, no, cleanse the bloodline. There was the whole Nazi thing again of them being like, oh, it's got to be pure. Because remember, the Ironsides, the other one bring them, and then they're like, no, they show up and they go, right, we've activated you, and then they go, yeah, okay, kill us, and then the paradigm killed them. Remember, it was just that thing of like, you've done your job, well done, but you're impure. Boom, boom, boom.
If they'd have gone,
I want you in my room to spend the night together. And of course, that was the whole thing with the civil war of them in the 80s stories. That was the whole point. Eventually, it became ones that Davros had created versus the ones that were already out there in the universe. Now that's hinted at around this time in the Doctor Who experience. Do you remember when you end up on the bridge of a Dalek ship and they're all the new Paradigm boys.
Big boys.
And then you restock stock footage of Dalek Sec, but like another faction get in touch and basically like wage war on them for being like, even though the new Paradigm are like pure and created from the progenitor, the older ones are like, "Oi, we're doing the Dalek job, you pricks, leave us alone." And it's, do you know what I mean? Anyway,
right.
Dalek Civil War is fun. I like the idea of a place that even the Daleks are in their DNA frightened of, and they're not entirely sure why, because it does build up this thing of this place is scary. And I do like the little twist of Oswin fighting against like what she's become at the end to screw the Daleks' database over and erase the Doctor from the Daleks' memory. That's really... It's a fun notion.
Oh, yeah, I remember now, yeah.
And also, I really, really liked the surprise of Jenna Coleman, or at this time, Jenna Louise Coleman. Because, context for those who may be too young to remember, it was announced a few months before these went out that it would be Karen Gillan and Arthur Darville's last run as Amy Pond and Rory Williams, and that they would be leaving at the end of the 5th episode of this first batch of new episodes, and that Jenna Coleman would be taking over, I think they said after Christmas, as the new companion. And people were like, "Oh, that's really cool. She was great in Emmerdale. Like, yeah, she's a good actor. Okay, can't wait to see what's going to happen." Yep. People were like, "This is going to be great. That's really cool." And then episode 1 comes out, and there's Jenna Louise Coleman, and you're like, "What?
Hey?
What is going on?" So in terms of how publicity around the show was going, that is a great bit of a twisty twist, because you, the viewer, are going, "I don't understand what's happening."
Yeah.
And then the fate of Oswin by the end of the episode, you're like, "Oh, right. So is he going to like meet her at a different point in her life or something in the next half of the series?" And then it turns out they were messing with us even further anyway, because we met her again at Christmas playing a different character called Clara in Victorian London. And then we met the companion who sticks around in the second half of the series the next year. So they weren't lying about that, but we just met her twice before then.
Is it...
Interesting use of casting. I also think her performance in this is very good. She's an entertaining, weird little guest character.
Is it explained in future episodes why...
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yes. In fact, it's the series arc of the second half of Series 7.
Okay, that's fine then.
That's it for positives from me. I have a feeling you don't have many positives for this one. Because even some of the ones I've mentioned, you've gone,
That's nice, dear.
That's nice, dear. What did you like? Bullet points. What did you like about this one?
I liked Matt Smith.
Yes, again, he proves to be endlessly entertaining, even if the material doesn't allow him to be. It's his choices and the things that he does, the way he carries himself. Really? That's it?
Oh, it's 2 of my least favourite things in one episode.
2 of your least favourite things in one episode? Oh, Jenna Coleman.
Yeah.
And? The Daleks?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still completely over Daleks.
That's fine.
I'm still waiting for that story that's going to grab me and go, Daleks are really good!
I don't think that's going to happen until Resolution, the first one of the Jodie Whittaker era.
Oh, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a Dalek story between now and then that might win you over. I think that'll be it. The one with the reconnaissance Dalek rebuilding itself and puppeteering someone throughout the whole story.
I do not recall.
The lady from Ghosts gets puppeteered by a squid that sat on her back. You don't remember any of this?
Nope.
It's really good. You know the one that looks like it's made out of junkyard scrap?
No.
I've got a toy of it upstairs.
No.
Okay, never mind. I think that's the first. I think that is the first one that you'll get to that makes you go, "Oh, actually, that's really cool,"
Okay.
because it is
I look forward to it.
the best the Daleks have been in years, and it's one Dalek, and it's Chris Chibnall going,
Ghosts.
yeah, and it's Chris Chibnall going, "I have had a Dalek idea for a long time, and I can't wait to finally do it," and you
Is it
can
the one that
feel
plays
it.
Mary?
No, she plays Alison, the lead character.
Oh no, I have no idea what that is. I don't remember that at all.
Do you want to know what I hate about this one?
I know what you hate about this one, but please do tell the audience.
The Amy and Rory subplot.
Yeah.
I hate it. I really hate it. So Amy and Rory are in the process of getting divorced because Amy's treating Rory like crap, is what we are told narratively. She's treating him like crap and being horrible to him and pushing him away. and they're going to get divorced. And over the course of this, you realise that over the course of this episode, she's being really nasty to him. And Rory's being perfectly civil and polite. I think he's a bit sarky when he brings the papers or something.
Yeah, he is.
But he's not being nasty at her.
That would be, natural for somebody that's been nasty.
Yeah, he seems bitter but upset. She seems nasty. And it's really weird. And the Doctor throughout the episode is like, right, we need to fix this or whatever. And there's a throwaway reference to him being like, so how's work going and stuff. She's like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore, implying that whatever career she has now in her timeline, be it model or whatever, she's just not doing it anymore. Okay, at least there's an acknowledgement of it. But the Doctor's like, what happened with Rory? And she's like, people just grow apart. It's like, it looks like she's pushing him away. We then find out what's going on between them. Amy can't have kids. She can't have children, and it seems that it has something to do with the Kavarian chapter and the silence and what they did to her to when she was going through her pregnancy.
Yeah.
It seems that that's whatever they did to her has stopped being able to have a child. Keeping in character with the Kavarian chapter, maybe they did that on purpose just to twist the knife. Like, just to be horrible even more. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
good luck trying to start a family. Like, because they obviously... They think they're doing the right thing, but then you've got people like Madame Kavarian who clearly are enjoying being absolute monsters along the way. So that's a horrible and frightening idea.
Yeah.
Of course it's traumatic.
Hmm.
They're not trying for a child, but because Amy knows that Rory's always wanted to be a dad, she thinks that she's going to ruin his life. And so... Instead of just saying that to him, because we learn it in this. He learns it in this. This is not a conversation they've had before this episode. She's treated him like shite to, as she says, save him. Because he can go away and meet someone else and have children. I find this gross for several reasons. One, she never once talked to him about that, which means... From their perspective, what happened is she just started treating him like crap one day and being horrible to him and pushed him away. She probably insulted him. Amy, thanks to Moffat's weird writing choice on this, Amy likes to slap. She slaps men all the time. Rory, the Doctor, she just slaps them so much. Sometimes last series, a lot in this one episode, funnily enough. So Amy probably was verbally abusive towards Rory to the point of him leaving. That's not a very likeable trait for Amy Pond, a character who we've grown to be really fond of because of how kind of whimsical and quirky and odd and take no crap she is. That's a bit weird. To suddenly turn her into take no crap but dish out loads is like, okay, that's interesting. But also, it's that implication of she can't have children, so I can never be enough for you. Surrogacy? Adoption? What? Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird notion that she's like, I can't have a baby because of something that was out of my control, and so my husband is clearly going to leave me or not accept me at some point. Why not just talk about it, and then you'd explore other options? Do you know what I mean? It just seems very short-sighted as a concept, and makes Amy seem very nasty and unlikable. That being said, I understand the trauma. Of course she'd be going through trauma and she'd react to it in a way maybe that is out of character to her. But for about 2 years, I think they mentioned that they've not seen him for 2 years, the Doctor.
Something like that, yeah.
So for 2 years, she's been verbally abusing Rory and pushing him away because of something she won't even talk to him about. It's so misguided. And the fact that it's just this one episode and then it's resolved, it's like, what was the point in that then? What was the point in that other than to make me really dislike this character pairing and Amy in particular?
I don't necessarily agree with you.
Totally fine, go ahead.
I think that the idea that she's got is that I think they have had this conversation that they can't have children. I think that that's something that they've talked about.
Okay.
And he's said before that he wants a family, but it doesn't matter to him. He just wants her. But in the back of her mind, she's like, but he wants a family. And I could never give him that. So if I push him away,
Mm.
he could be happy with somebody else and have children with somebody else.
But as we learn from this,
I know
like,
that he'll be happy.
But as we learn from this, he's miserable and broken because they're not together anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's not taking him into consideration.
No,
at
exactly.
any point.
Well, no,
She's
she has.
She's decided what his feelings are going to be.
Yeah, she has.
And has forced him away.
Yeah, she has.
Meanwhile, he's just going to go away, probably not find someone, be really upset and devastated forever, and never know the real reason why.
Yeah. She's thought that he's gonna, she's gonna push him away so much that he's not gonna want to see her again, and then he's gonna move on. But he's done the complete opposite.
Mm.
I think it's done just to show how much they are meant to be together and how much they love each other. Because
I think it's a bit of a messed up idea of showing how much in love they are.
It is, but
like especially because the journey we've seen them go on. It feels weird for this to be a cup
it's
that
fucking
they have.
stupid. Sorry, excuse me.
No, that's all right. I'll just take the use of inappropriate language box when I put the monetization details in. You guys are cool with swearing, right?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and it's done just for this episode.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing. It's a big plot point that is just turned on, turned off as quickly as. But
not Chris. They set it up in Pond Life episode 5. Not everybody watched the Red Button content the week before.
No. Unless their husband forced them to watch them.
For a Doctor Who review show that my wife decided we should do.
Hey, look. Mistakes were made. No. I think
mistakes were made.
It was a stupid thing to do. I didn't like it. I don't agree with it. But I've seen that trope before, where somebody's pushed them away so they can because they think they'll be happier without them. I've seen that
too. I don't know. It's just something about the fact that.
I understand why she's done it. I don't like it, but I understand.
It feels like they've not had that conversation.
Yeah. And
that to me then says, so you've spent the last however long in the last 2 years treating him like crap.
Yeah.
I think it really bugs me because Amy's starting to become sporadically abusive.
Yeah, she's not.
And it really upsets me because I'm like, that's not who Amy Pond is, really. Yes, she's flawed. Yes, she can act out sometimes. But like, it's starting to feel like once she and Rory get married, he becomes a punching bag.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And it's odd. And as he points out in this, he says like, the stuff is fueled, the nanobots basically are forced away by anti-Dalek emotions because the nanobots take longer to convert that, one of which, of course, is love.
Yeah.
And Rory's like, I'll last longer without my, wrist thing.
Because I've always loved you more.
Because I've always loved you more and I still love you. And she's like, how dare you? And he's like, come on, I spent 2,000 years protecting you. Like, of course I love it. And she's like, how dare you? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, Amy, take that back. He's got a point there. He's got a point there.
No, I know what you mean. But
I'm not invalidating her feelings that moment, but it's
I would say how dare you.
And it's not a competition, but...
No, I know, but I would say how dare you.
Well, she slaps him.
My God, can I get a word out, please? Jesus.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry. I would be insulted as well. I mean, not saying that your thing was greater than mine.
Yeah, it's not a competition.
But she is sacrificing her whole relationship with him. She's sacrificing her life with him.
But my argument there would be she's chosen to do that.
Yeah, no,
he's had no say or possibly even knows why. Keep going. I'm just
if she'd have said that to him, if she'd have said, I want you to be with somebody else so you can have children and be happy with them, he would have obviously gone, no, that's stupid, I'm not doing that. But she knows deep down inside that he wants children of his own.
Yeah, but that's again her deciding what he would do.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not right.
So it's not right, but I've forgotten the point that I was making.
That we both get what she's doing.
So in her own special way.
You make it sound
to
adorable.
The people
in her own special way. She's
come by my bag full of crumbs. No,
in her own
special way. That
verbal abuse of her husband.
No, shut up.
And sometimes physical.
Shut up. She is showing.
Can you hear the abuse on tape, folks?
Look, I obviously love you more. No. She's showing how much she loves him by pushing him, by I don't know, giving him a new life. That's her showing how much she loves him. They always say, don't they? If you love something, let it go. I mean, I've never
the
really
phrase
got
should
that,
be: if you love something, sit down and talk.
If you love
and
something,
figure things out.
I love them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I get where she's coming from. I understand the motivation. I just think it's grossly out of nowhere.
Yeah, it is.
It says a lot about how thought out her character is, or rather, how much she hasn't been thought out for the last couple of years. And it's also like, at no point in the series have we ever been given any indication by Rory, or at least reinforced in any way, that his ideal life is this one thing and it's all he strives towards. Like, we have a hint of that when they're expecting a kid and settling down in Amy's Choice.
Mm. Yeah, you're right.
But
It does come out of nowhere.
That was 2 years ago,
yeah.
And at no point is he like, that's our perfect life. It's more lent into the idea that he's like, that's nice, isn't it? Like, don't you want that? Like, it's a hint. It's never a, that's what I want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, my perfect Sunday.
My perfect Sunday. Yeah, I think that's the reason why I don't remember this episode fondly, because I was thinking, oh, is it some hacky stuff with the Daleks? Does it not quite work with me? Everything to do with the Daleks I quite liked in this. Everything to do with Oswin I quite liked in this. It's Amy and Rory's story and their character motivations. I hate it. And the fact that it is then just resolved and we move on.
Yeah.
It's like, what was the point in that? What was the point in that? The fact they're even in the story is a coincidence in the world of the story.
Yeah.
Because the Daleks, like, we're sending the Doctor down to do this thing. Oh, that's one thing I hate as well. You are the predator of the Dalek. Can we stop with the nicknames now?
That came out of nowhere.
It comes the hell out of nowhere. Like, I thought he was the oncoming storm.
I thought he was the enemy of the Daleks.
Yeah. Anyway. But I don't rate this one overall.
I don't. Everybody, if you've watched this from, towards the beginning, or
you didn't really hate the Daleks in the classic era, did you?
Even since the last time we saw the Daleks, if you've been watching since then, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of them, because it is so obvious that they put them in sometimes just because they need to keep up the license.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Mm.
Very likely, but allegedly. You just made the gesture at me that said, like, oh, maybe cut that out. No, that's staying in.
No, I was like, I'm going to show up now. No,
basically, right. Because I work for Doctor Who magazine, and I've worked in circles with Doctor Who people, and I'm friends with a lot of people on the productions, past and present. Sometimes we talk about stuff on here that isn't public knowledge.
I've been told off of you.
And a couple of episodes ago...
I don't know.
Not Chris talked about a thing that is definitely not public knowledge, and I had to edit it out, and she felt really bad about it.
I still feel bad about it.
Don't worry about it, it's fine. This, though...
It was your face, it scared me.
The Terry Nation... Oh, God, don't say that. How can we take that?
No, you were just, like, so shocked. I was like,
the Terry Nation escape allegedly has a legal thing where the Daleks have to be used either in the show or in a big release or product that year for the BBC to retain the rights.
And I don't know, just to me...
we have joked about that before, so...
It seemed... I don't know how much more you can do with Daleks. I really don't.
Wait until Resolution. Resolution breathes new life into them.
You can... I don't know, they just keep going and coming back. Don't get me wrong, you can change the way they look, and they look awesome. I'm not going to lie.
We both like the new paradigm, don't we?
Yeah, I love them. I think they look great. This red one... Oh, maybe not this one, because he's a bit dirty, but... Don't you have this red one in, like, a just, like, clean...
Normal matte red. The only
not
one...
matte red, but, like,
yeah,
shiny
no, the
red.
only one of them I've got in shiny chrome is a blue one.
Oh.
Because he was released in a double pack.
Did you sell
later
one?
on? No, I've never had a chrome red one. I don't think they've ever released a chrome red one apart from that one, which is dirtied up.
Okay, I like the dirty one.
I like the dirty red boy.
I like the Daleks dirty. No, yeah, I love the way they look. Amazing. I've just
realised something.
Go on.
What's one of the first things Oswin is doing in her little montage when we cut to her video diary after the title sequence? Making a souffle.
Yeah.
What's she doing at one point? Whisking eggs. She's holding a whisk in, like, the first few seconds of her on screen. People always joke that the Daleks are holding an egg plunger and a whisk.
An egg plunger?
You know what I mean?
What's an egg plunger?
An egg real plunging for eggs. They're always holding a
Oh, the eggs have got stuck again. Get the egg.
a toilet plunger and an egg whisk. Yeah.
A specific toilet plunger.
Oh, for God's sake!
Can
Asylum
you
of the
tell
Daleks.
Chris never used to plunge?
Asylum, except to pretend to be a Dalek. Asylum of the Daleks. It exists.
Hold on,
Moving
I've
on.
not finished yet.
Oh, go on. Go on then,
I've got a question.
young lady.
What, have you ever had a souffle? What is a souffle?
Asylum of the Daleks.
No, okay, seriously. Jenna Coleman in this, okay, yep, she's cute and adorable.
I like Osmond. I think
She's like
for
a
a one-off
bouncy-
story, great idea of a
She's like
character.
a bouncy puppy. Adorable. The fact that she's a Dalek in real life, her speaking when the Doctor can see her,
Mm.
and she's obviously a Dalek in front of him, speaking her words through a Dalek is really sad.
Yeah, and the fact that you can hear her vocabulary then start to get a bit more Dalek as she's panicking.
But I don't know. I didn't.
Why is she in chains in a white room?
Oh, yeah. Why is she in? Yeah.
Why did the Daleks? Why did?
Who put her in?
Because the implication here is that she crashed on the planet, and then the nanobots turned her into a Dalek.
Was she not with that crew that?
Not with that
Because
one,
they
I
had
don't
they had
think.
the
I don't
same
think.
white uniform.
Oh, it might be with that one, maybe. Because she was the head of entertainment, so she was basically like the head of the the drama and cabaret club on the cruise ship. Yeah, basically that's what she was. But it turns out she legit was a bit of a genius. Like, she was really good at computer stuff in particular. And the Daleks went, "Oh, you'll be useful." Well, the nanogenes went, "You'll be useful."
We
and
need a
converted
kids
her.
club.
No, but like they converted her
Boss.
into a Dalek mutant, gave her a casing, and then put 2 chains on her and stuck her in an immaculate white cell.
But also,
That makes no sense.
Also, she's flirty. It's like, what?
Don't mind that as a one-off character.
Why?
Do not mind that as a one-off character.
Why does every female character in this
era
have to be fucking flirty? It comes out of nowhere. She's flirty with the Doctor and she's flirty with Rory. And it's like, no. Just because she's female, or identifies as female, why does she have to be flirty?
Yeah, I think you're overanalyzing the Moffat of it all. I get you. I think in this individual story, it doesn't bother me so much because it's just this character. There's a whole thing where, like, she says she's flirting with Rory. He's like, "Do we have to be flirting or whatever?" He starts panicking, and then he's like, "Yeah, actually, back to flirting." And I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of cute." She's obviously just being like this to kind of, "Hey, everything's great," and it's also tonally. She's cool as a cucumber. Like, she knows she's adorable. She's flirting with everybody. Isn't this great? Because then the penny drop of, she's not even real. She's a mutated creature in a tank.
That's not big. That's not big, and it's not clever to me. I think that's extremely annoying and inappropriate.
Not Chris is just jealous because Oswin's got better pickup lines. Go on, give us a pickup line.
Oh, look, I've dropped something.
Oh, what is it?
Mad shoe.
That's terrible.
You got to pick it up.
With my egg plunger.
It's a pickup line, isn't it?
Pick it up with my egg plunger.
You got to pick it up.
Dinosaurs on a spaceship.
You asked.
I really enjoyed this.
I actually enjoyed this the second time.
I didn't enjoy this on broadcast, and I think the reason I hate it on broadcast is because of the ending. The Doctor leading Solomon as a missile target to be killed. I remember watching this the first time being like, "Oh, I hate that." Like, the man who abhors violence never carries a gun, as Davros says in Series 4. But it's like, having now watched the entire show up to this point from 63...
He was talking about himself there, Davros, because he can't carry anything because his hands don't work.
He zaps with his hand, though, doesn't he? His little zappy hand. Point is...
His little crusty finger.
God.
Ew, sorry.
Point is,
sorry,
having watched the show from the beginning, there have been plenty of times where the Doctor has taken out an incredibly dangerous individual, creature, robot, or whatever, to make sure everyone else stays alive. Like, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. This dude's a monster. He's going to kill everyone. But if I can do this and have him lead the missiles away and then blow him up and I can save everyone and all the creatures on this ark, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It doesn't... Yeah, on broadcast it really annoyed me, but then, like...
He steals...
Having watched so much of the whole show now, from the 60s onwards, it doesn't bother me as much.
He destroyed a whole planet of He destroyed a whole arc of Silurians.
He killed them all, throwing them out into space. Yeah. He kills the Triceratops.
Let's just repeat that. Let's just repeat that. Well, that is unforgivable. You can get in the sea. I don't care.
Get in the sea. Solomon, get in the sea.
He not projected. What's the word?
Ejected.
Thank you. Ejected a species, a live species, one that is a reptilic human.
Homo reptilia.
Yeah, species. Into space when they were alive.
Yeah, he woke them up and ejected them.
Ejected them into space when they were alive. Alive.
And that's the thing.
Alive.
And that's the thing. It wasn't that they were at war. It wasn't that the Silurians were like attacking his planet. He's literally just a grifter who goes from place to place, stealing stuff, selling it. Like, that's all he does. He trades in information, and he uses that to outwit or murder people and take their stuff. He's a pirate.
He's a space pirate. Now I've said that, he sounds cool. But no, he's a bad person.
Yeah, he's a pirate. He's a villain.
I know.
So just for those who are confused, who we're talking about, if you've not watched the episode in a while, it's Solomon, as played by the brilliant David Bradley, making his first appearance in Doctor Who, but his second appearance in the Whoniverse up to this point, having voiced the Shan Sheath in Death of the Doctor for Sarah Jane Adventures. And of course, this will not be his last appearance within the world of Who.
He's never in it again, is he? Christopher's looking at me like, is she serious?
You know that there's only one story, as of this recording, and there's only one story that's had a 4K UHD release. And that's Twice Upon a Time.
He comes back as Rose, doesn't he?
Oh, God. If you want to see us talk about David Bradley playing William Hartnell in the historical drama An Adventure in Space and Time, go way back to the beginning of this playlist and watch our episode on Doctor Who movies. If you want to hear our thoughts on Twice Upon a Time, dear God bless you, stick around for another 6 or 7 months. You've not seen that one? Oh,
for good reason. And it was on purpose.
But here he is playing a villain, and he does a great job.
He's
nasty.
I have never had I don't think I've ever had such a negative reaction to... A positive, negative reaction to a villain character.
Was when he shot the Triceratops?
I know, just in general.
when he had one of the robots shooting...
He's slimy. He doesn't care about anybody except himself.
Mm.
And I hate him, and I love him for it.
It's a great performance, isn't it?
It's so good.
It's nice because it's so rare in this modern era for the last couple of seasons to have a villain. Like, Madame Kavarian came close, but we still were never really sure entirely of the Silence's motivation. So it was like,
to get a bit of phlegm.
Why is she being nasty? Like, you don't get it. This guy's nasty because it's how he's survived this long. He's been ruthless. I love the idea of the Silurians, a group of the Silurians before the meteors hit.
Meteor just hit.
Like I don't think that caught on camera, so it doesn't make any sense.
A bag fell on me.
I love the idea that the Silurians, a chapter of the Silurians back in the Cretaceous period, like, knew what was about to happen. Well, because that was the thing, isn't it? The Silurians originally went underground into hibernation because they thought something was going to crash into the Earth, and it was the moon, wasn't it? That was the whole thing. It was like the moon's emergence and everything freaked them out. They couldn't tell what it was exactly, and they went underground. This is implying that there were some around the Cretaceous period who basically Noah's Arked. Millions of years before Noah's Ark was a concept.
Yeah.
They built a craft, shoved a crap load of living organisms onto it, namely dinosaurs, on a spaceship, and went up into space and did what the other Silurians had done in stories like And the Silurians and Hungry Earth, Cold Blood, where they went into stasis, but they did it in the stars. I love how the story begins, the Doctor learning about this thing going on, because the ISA, oh God. So what does NASA stand for again? My brain's melting.
I don't know. We were talking about this.
Yeah, we both realised we've been to NASA and everything.
NASA. I have no idea.
We always, because it's something space. Is it Space Authority? Let's have a look.
No idea.
The National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
I was going to say authority. That sounds.
So this is the ISA. So the Indian Space Administration. Again, amazing bit of world building. Never explained. No character is ever never has it explained to them. We just see the Doctor there talking to like one of the commanders, one of the people in charge.
Yeah.
And they are like, yeah, we found that. So you just presume that it's sometime in Earth's future relative to us.
Yeah, and why wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, here we are. The year... Oh, no, it stands for... Oh, in the episode it stands for Indian Space Agency. In the year 2367, there's this massive thing. It's flying down to Earth, and it's going to, meteorite collision with the Earth. So they've got in touch with him somehow, and have basically gone, oi, mate. Maybe they've dug up in Unit's old files or whatever and been like, right, get in touch with this guy. They've gone, right, you need to deal with it. Go investigate what it is.
I like the idea that maybe they've worked together before.
Oh, yeah, well, again, yeah, he has adventures without the pond, as we see in this, because the first time we see him, he is with Queen Nefertiti of Egypt.
And she knows who he is.
And they've just, they've been on an adventure and he's saved everybody and she's more than a little bit grateful. And then he does this and he goes and recruits a big game hunter from the Edwardian era called John Riddell. So we've got 2 extra guest stars in this one. Ryan Steele playing Queen Nefertiti, she does a great job. And Rupert Graves as Riddell, again, does a great job. They're 2 really interesting side characters. Big Paternoster gang vibes. Big, oh yeah, we're just going to introduce some characters that he already knows and you, the viewer, are just going to go, oh, alright, vibes.
Yeah, I like that.
And they're fully formed and they work quite well.
And they seem to know a lot about each other, and it's like the Doctor's
the Doctor
had
does
so
with
many.
them,
Sorry, the Doctor's had adventures. This could have been 4 companions ago. You never know.
Yeah. Or maybe he's been foiling this alien plot in the Edwardian era, and John Riddell came along for the ride, and the 2 of them dealt with it for months on end.
Exactly.
And Queen Nefertiti, we know that he's just gone back, and there's been an adventure just then, and it ends with her joining him on this emergency call to the ISA.
And she was only there because she insisted, because she was chasing him down, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's like, I'm coming with you. You saved my people, the least I can do is come with you. And he's like, I don't want you to. And she's like, tough. And he's like, I am not going to fight Queen Nefertiti. She will kick my ass.
She will kick my booty.
And then...
I love that. I love the concept of the Doctor having adventures, that we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But the Doctor having adventures, and we have no idea what they are, because
it's nice having gaps. It's nice having gaps.
Yeah.
After the Deadly Assassin, and then between the Deadly Assassin and the Invisible Enemy. So before leaving Gallifrey, and then on the adventure where he meets Leela, stuff clearly could have happened.
Yeah.
Because we don't know where he's been.
No, exactly.
And I love that. I love that there can be gaps. I mean, Big Finish certainly love that there can be gaps. But this works quite nicely. And I love that he's in such a rush and giddy to get this investigation going that he decides he's going to just put a team together. And he materialises around Amy and Rory in their home. He just materialises the TARDIS around them. Unwittingly taking Rory's dad,
Brian.
Played Brian Williams, played by the brilliant Mark Williams. This is some inspired casting. So who could play the dad of Arthur Darvill's Rory Williams? Mark Williams? Yes. That's the end of the conversation. Yes.
He could play anyone.
Get him in. That is a perfect bit of casting. 1,000 times yes. You instantly believe that is Rory's dad.
Have you ever seen anything that he's in that he was not good in?
Never.
Never.
I've always enjoyed Mark Williams.
He's so good.
Always been a really good performer.
No matter what genre he's in, he just...
And it's also a great get as well for this audience, because an audience of the age that Doctor Who's aimed at this period in time, 2012 when it's going out, will know him very specifically for being another fictional character's dad in a big fancy franchise. It's just a really solid bit of casting that I remember at the time. People were like, "Oh my god, that's I love Mark Williams. That's really cool."
He's in that franchise that you were referencing then.
Yes.
That we won't talk about. He's one of my favourite characters because he's so friggin' charming and so adorable.
He's warm, and he's bumbling, and he's believable.
And he plays a dad so well.
In this, oh my god, right.
He plays a dad that you're embarrassed of as a teenager, but you relate to so much as an adult and would never change them. Chris
Chibnall wrote this story, returning for the first time since... I can't remember if he wrote any in Series 6, but point is, he was the one to write the first Silurian story of the modern era. He wrote Hungry Earth and Cold Blood, which we really enjoyed. So the fact that this is kind of a mini Silurian story is quite nice. It's him going, oh, I had this idea and I'm going to turn it into a script. But it also seems to be confirmation that he writes middle-aged to, like, older dad-aged characters really well. Like, the two, and again, we'll obviously get to it when we assess it properly, but the two most likeable companions in his era as a showrunner are Graham and Dan. Bradley Walsh and John Bishop, respectively. Even though the two of them don't get a lot of development and there are problems with those characters and how they're written, there's enough foundation there in those first few episodes with them where you get them completely, and the casting, again, of the actors nails it. And Brian's like the first sort of, yep, this is where we're going with this. We are going to make believably, genuinely comedic older dad characters a thing that he does well with.
Yeah.
I think he also does well with world building. Maybe the difference here, maybe the secret sauce here is the Stephen Moffat touch. Like, that sounds wrong. Like, this is a Chibnall script that obviously then Moffat would give a pass to and shape to fit into the series structure. Because I think this is actually a really well put together adventure. It works really well.
You're right. I love when
the engine's being a big hydro engine. It's just a giant basin full of water, so it's basically an ocean.
Hydro engine, I never even thought that. I love Matt Smith in this. Well,
he's giddy as a goose, isn't he?
He is so funny.
He's giddy as an untitled goose.
When they all come out of the TARDIS, he's like, do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I didn't notice you there? Who are you? What are you doing here? How did you get on here?
So you materialised around us. Like, that's my dad.
That's my dad. And it's like, and then he's just so happy to see
Brian,
him.
Lovely to meet you. Yeah.
It's so funny. And Brian's just like, what's happened?
But then takes to it brilliantly.
Yeah, he does.
Dude's got golf balls that smell like turf in his pockets, so the Triceratops chases him because it thinks it's vegetables. He's got a portable trowel. He's got a trowel you can fold. Look, he has a trowel in his pocket. It's the fact that once he gets over the initial shock, he begins adapting to the adventure, like, almost immediately. And I love that there is a payoff to it. It's established in Chibnall's Silurian two-parter that the reason why certain ones look different and look similar is it's all based on, like, the gene sequence of that, like, cluster, that, like, nest or, society or what have you, that each individual race of Silurians can be a bit different, which, of course, then goes to explain why the Sea Devils look very different from the Silurians, but they're all technically the same species.
Yeah.
And so these Silurians look different and whatnot from the ones from the classic era, and sometimes because the way the gene thing works, they can look very similar, an excuse to have similar actors or the same actors play different Silurian characters, like Meath McIntosh, who has now played up to this point 3 different Silurian characters.
Every Silurian.
Like we get one here, like we see one on the video thing, because obviously we get to see a Silurian, and it's played by the fellow who plays the. I think it's the same fellow. Anyway, he plays the older one in the Blaytal. He's called, played by Richard Hope.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if he was the same one. Oh, he played the older Arthur Kipps in The Woman in Black in the West End just before lockdowns.
Oh, I can see that.
Did he play? Did he play him in the 2010 one? I'm gonna look that up really quick. But like, yes, he did. He was Malaka in Hungry Earth and Cold Blood. So he has because he's Malaka. He was the scientist Malaka.
Yeah, I thought that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, I thought it was the councilman, the elder. But no, he's the scientist Malaki, the one who did the experiments in the two-parter. He reprised that role briefly in the alternate universe in The Wedding of River Song. He was Churchill's assistant. So that was him who played the sort of elder in this one on the screen. So he's playing a different role, but it's again the same actor. So you can't explain
same
that.
Bloodline?
Which means that Brian and Rory being there pays off beautifully when they realise that they can pilot the ship and help change their trajectory with the same gene-like sequence, father and son, which results in a really fun scene where the two of them sell the hell out of the fact they're just sat in some chairs. You buy it.
Yeah.
You buy it because Arthur Darvill and Mark Williams are really good actors.
We're piloting a spaceship and they're both like,
it's really novel to them.
So cute.
I think the interplay between the two groups is fun, like the scenes with Amy Riddell and Nefertiti are really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because Amy, you can sort of see her doing it. She basically just slides into Doctor mode. She's just like, no, I know all about this. Yeah, Silurians are Homo reptilia, they live under the earth and all this, that, and the other, and you're like, okay, there we go. That's funny.
So I said, if you're first thing you should do on a new planet is
walk around, act like you own the place.
Push buttons.
Yeah. Pretend you know what you're doing. Seems to work for me.
I don't think that is a good idea.
Somehow. The other group, the Doctor, Rory, and Brian get some nice stuff. Obviously, they're the ones who face off properly against Solomon. The scenes between just Matt Smith and David Bradley are very good. Very, very good. Like, tense. Because you can see the Doctor's weighing up their options. You just talked about at the beginning of this about how brilliant he is.
I know, but then I was thinking about Rory and his dad.
Solomon's design's great. Like, his legs in those braces, you find out that they've been mauled by raptors when they arrived. But of course, we now know that maybe they weren't. Maybe the Silurians injured him trying to fight back. He's got his robots, which are kind of shite, and that's something that is explained because he bought them for cheap from this market or whatever. Like, he just wanted some security and muscle. So you've got them played by David Mitchell and the other one's uncredited. And
less said about that, the better.
At the time of recording, still not justified his beliefs. Anyway, but yeah, so they do a great job. That is stunt casting. I remember that being promoted a lot at the time that they were in it.
Really?
Let's refer to the double act. Mitchell and Webb, it was promoted a lot that they were in it.
Yeah.
And then when people saw it, they went, "Wait, is that it?" I think that's fine. It's sort of the same as when Hale and Pace were in Survival, working in the shop, the corner shop, and McCoy has a couple of scenes with him, when he's looking for the cats and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's just Ken Dodd in Delta and the Bannermen. It's just we've got this quirky little part. Let's give it to a comedian. Why not? It's a much better use of a comedy duo casting or comedic actor casting than Bill Bailey was in Doctor Who in the Wardrobe, for example. It's actually playing to their strength because the two of them at this point were very well known for playing bickering flatmates in a long-running sitcom. So it's that works to have them. And I like the dialogue. I think the dialogue for them is very funny. The way that they're, very very pedantic and very bitchy to each other, and they have insecurities is very fun to see that from these hulking robots.
Yeah.
The robots are reused props from, I think it's the CBBC show Mission 2110. And they will get repurposed and reused again.
I do recognise them.
In a Capaldi story, because I think King Hydroflax is also made from the same thing. Mission 2110, so 2110. Because there's been some...
Oh, definitely.
Can you see them?
Definitely.
Yeah. So it was a CBBC game show around the time I started presenting at CBBC. Yeah, around the time I started presenting at CBBC, and it was it was a Trapped meets Crystal Maze kind of thing. Raven in the steampunk future was basically the plot of it.
That's pretty high tech for it.
And costumes and character things from that have been reused throughout a lot of Doctor Who productions in the 2010s, like Sarah Jane robots had reused parts from these guys and stuff.
Well, why not?
And again, it's lovely simple design. The arms are puppeteered live by a person in the body, and if you look very carefully in some shots, especially on our big telly, you can see the arms coming from the hips of the robot into the forearms of the robot.
That's only if you notice little things.
All of puppetry, and they're like, how are they doing that? And you look out for details.
It's very cool.
It's cool.
When you told me it was puppets...
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought it would be. I just don't think I would have thought about it.
It's a soup puppet. They're basically Sweetums. Oh, Big Bird.
Oh.
I like the dinosaurs. The practical ones and the CGI ones all look really good.
They do look good.
I mean, they've had a pterodactyl saved in the bloody hard drive for a long time now, and they've used it quite a bit in the last few years. They used it in series 6 finale, even. The raptors were great. So we saw the Triceratops, and we saw the sleeping T-Rex, which was cute. And I like to throw a reference to not even fully grown. It's well done. Well done for making a note, because all of us are looking at it and going, I'm sure they're bigger than that.
That's tiny.
But it's a beautiful puppet, and we don't see it in action, we just see it snoozing. But then you said, how come none of them have got feathers? And then the raptors showed up.
Yeah, I was impressed.
And they were covered in feathers.
Yeah.
And it was like, ah!
No, I didn't say.
But they were still inaccurate because they were still Jurassic Park-sized raptors instead of what raptors were, which is like 3 feet tall. Yeah, but still, it's cool. And the fact that Riddell like purposely finds a gun with tranquilizer in and makes a point of like, yeah, I'm not going to kill one. But obviously in the scuffle gets what he wants. All he wanted from this was the adventure and to maybe come away with the dinosaur tooth.
Yeah.
And then at the end we see him and Nefertiti. Maybe she's waiting to get dropped off later, or maybe she just stays there. I don't know. But like
maybe
her, they basically just shagged in a tent, and he's got a raptor tooth on his necklace, and he didn't get it from killing any dinosaurs. He got it from knocking one out, and in the fight probably was like, oh, there we go, tooth fell out, right, boom, whatever. But I don't mind that. I don't hate the Doctor killing Solomon on this rewatch. I think just because I've seen him, he won't mind if I don't join you. I've seen him chuck people into acid baths. Like I've seen him do whatever he can to survive, or whatever he can to save everyone else, if it means taking out one bad guy or whatever. Like I've seen it enough. Last series, for Christ's sake, in A Good Man Goes to War, he blows up half a cyber fleet just to send a message. Do you know what I mean? The Doctor will never use killing as his first option.
Yeah.
And he tries to find as many different ways in this as he can to save the day. But he runs out of options when the missiles are sent up by the ISA.
Yeah.
And they're going to blow up the Ark. And he's like, right, track her onto Solomon's ship, fire Solomon's ship off into the stars, missiles will kill him. Like, fine, whatever.
I cannot complain that he killed Solomon, because he was making untoward comments.
Oh, that is creepy.
Because he wants to...
He buys Nefertiti.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I keep
in exchange, obviously his intention is to sell her on, because she's like one of the rarest things he's ever seen.
She's like a piece of art.
Yeah, but then he starts to make aggressively sexual comments towards her. Like not like he just starts going like, you're good, look at me, that you're... But just, he makes enough of a comment that you as a viewer go, oh, okay, that's skeevy. This was bad, but it's just got worse.
Yeah. I am... things like that make me really uncomfortable, and I know it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And
again,
to give you that visceral reaction, but
Bradley and Steele play those moments really well.
Yeah,
the two of them play it brilliantly.
You can kill that guy. That's fine. You go ahead, Doctor. You kill that guy. That's fine.
I am delighted to say I really enjoyed Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Yeah,
I didn't think I was going to. I thought I was like, I don't remember being that fond of that one.
I remember thinking it was stupid.
But
I think that's because I watched the week before and was like, ugh, hate it.
I kind of wanted big, dumb, stupid fun, and that's what we got.
Yeah, that is what we got.
And the ending shot is glorious. Brian just sat in the open doors of the TARDIS, looking down on planet Earth.
Eating a sandwich
with his flask, his thermos. Amy and Rory join him to just look out, and the Doctor he's looking at him from behind, but he's kind of got this look of... I'm trying what it was, but he isn't just sort of like, yay, this is lovely. You can kind of see the look on his face of like, I guess I've got to drop him off. You can see him missing them. He's missing them. He made the decision in the God Complex to be like, the longer you're with me, the closer you are to your eventual death. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I can't allow that. We've had an amazing time. I'm sending you home. I will visit you. I will visit you. I will make an effort to see you. But I can't take you with me anymore. And he stuck to that, but you can see him missing them being with him.
Yeah.
Which is probably why they hop into the TARDIS willy-nilly, looking for... Where is it they think they're going? I can't remember now, but like... They've definitely been on little outings, because there's a throwaway joke in A Town Called Mercy about Rory leaving his phone charger in Henry VIII's chambers.
Oh, yeah.
And then Rory not being that worried about it, because he's like, I'm sure it's fine. And it's like, no.
Oh, he was talking about the fact that there are lights.
Yes, the flickering light thing, which before we started watching these episodes, after we watched Asylum of the Daleks, friend of the show, Trilby, Mr. TARDIS, dropped a video talking about the dropped Series 7 plot thread. Because there was always a thing of every series has sort of had a plot. Bad Wolf, like, you know, even if it's subtle, like Bad
Underlying
Wolf or Torchwood,
every episode,
stuff that's more direct, like Boat Saxon and, you know, planets disappearing. The Crack in Time, the death of the Doctor at Lake Silencio, and the Silence.
Yeah.
And then this series, there isn't one until the Snowmen. The second half of the series becomes, who is this girl and why have I met her twice before? But the first half of the series doesn't seem to have one, except in nearly every episode in the first half of the series, there are shots of flickering lights. Just before Amy is seemingly teleported away by the Dalek drone in Asylum, lights are flickering. Brian is fixing a light and he says it's the fitting, and Rory says it's the bulb in Dinosaurs and Spaceship. And that's when, at the end, Rory's doing it himself and he's like, he's right, I think it is the fitting. So obviously a bulb's been flickering. Town called Mercy, they arrive at this town.
On the ship with the dinosaurs?
Yes, because there was one, wasn't there, that was just flickering in that doorway at the panel. Yeah. And then in this one, they arrive at Mercy and there's lights everywhere, electric lights, and they're flickering. And of course the Doc says, that's not right. And Rory's like, oh, what do you mean? He says, because it's like 10 years too early. Like, electricity's like not going to be a thing for another 10 years in this form.
And Rory's like, yeah.
Well, you know, maybe they just whatever. And he's like, you'd say that, you left your phone charger in the 8th bedchambers. Which will get really confusing when we watch the next episode. Put a pin in that mentally.
Why was Rory in?
Well, you'll see in the next episode. But...
Really?
Yeah, in a way that makes me think that Moffat didn't check his script or it's a bit wibbly-wobbly. But the point still stands, let them go. Will points out in his video that, like, that's interesting. And then in The Angels Take Manhattan, obviously we associate flickering light bulbs with the Weeping Angels because we know that they can turn out lights and stuff, like they sort of psychically turn them out in their stone form so that they can move around. But it is unusual when you think about it. They're like, oh yeah, that seems to be a motif. Like, especially like close-ups of the bulbs flickering in and out in these episodes. Like, it's too consistent for you to not at least go, what are you laughing at?
Sorry.
It's an audio podcast. You're going to have to explain what you're laughing at, you dingle.
I was just picturing an angel, like, when nobody's looking, walking really fast to, like faff with a light or something. But then I remembered them all falling through that crack in time.
Oh, in the experience? Where they're, like, just peeling away down the tunnel. Oh, no, in their two-parter. Yeah.
And they're a completely flat bottom. So I'm just imagining them just, like, moving
like South Park characters.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's me, Benito.
And that was just absurd. I just thought that happening in, like, super speed is just really funny.
Good lord.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh,
I was just laughing to myself.
So,
I was trying really hard not to disturb you, and you went and asked me anything.
But anyway, flickering lights, la la la, early electricity, bing bang bong. This Town Called Mercy is a script by Toby Whithouse, who last wrote The God Complex and really should have become showrunner at some point. Because these Doctor Who scripts, coupled with being human, make me think that he would have been brilliant. Maybe he'll still get a shot at it one day. I hope so. I do hope that in RTD2 they bring back Whithouse for some scripts, because
that was confusing to my brain.
RTD2. How did
you say that without spluttering?
RTD2.
RTD2.
Since the last video, it's been revealed that the Doctor and Donna are involved in the 60th anniversary in some way, and Yasmin, I can't remember her name, has been cast as a character called Rose. So that's where we're up to in real time as the recording of this. You guys are watching this in the 60th anniversary year, so enjoy.
Really?
Yeah, it's January 2023 for this lot.
See, Christopher gets worried sometimes if we've not done a video in a while that we're going to catch up. Do you really think we're going to catch up?
That's because I've changed the scheduling, so now...
Y'all crazy.
Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy, bitch. Anyway, I really like this one. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Wait, what are we talking about? Which one?
A Town Called Mercy.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh my god.
We've not said what it's about yet, have we?
Well, again, if people are watching this, they've seen it, but basics for those who are wondering, it's the Wild West one with the Robocop gunslinger hanging out on the edge of town.
Love it.
Trying to kill the alien doctor. We've got a nice bit of that misleading thing of, like, the alien doctor, maybe it's him, and all that stuff. Farscape's Benjamin Browder plays Isaac. And as soon as I said, like, oh, Farscape, you went, hurt it. Wait, what?
Oh my god, it is!
It hit you like a ton of bricks. You were like, oh my god, it is, isn't it?
Was he in Stargate as well?
SG-1. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was Cameron Mitchell in SG-1.
Oh my god, did you know that just off the top of your head?
No, I looked at it.
Oh,
I mean, yes, I knew it off the top of my head.
I am so...
Turned on, right? And then we've got Adrian Scarborough, who is an amazing performer, but we mostly just think of him as Mr. Jolly.
Can't not see it, unfortunately.
As Carla Jex, the alien who landed in Mercy years ago. His ship crashed. We learn he and his partner, and we realise that he may have left his partner to die purposely so that he could just carry on disguising himself and whatnot. We see the death of his partner. I said at the beginning of this episode, we see his partner get killed. Yeah, I was wondering whether or not that was in the prequel, but no, the prequel's something else.
That was
which we'll get to. We'll get to. But yeah. And then the gunslinger himself is played by Andrew Brooke, who is an absolute beast based on his appearance in this. He's huge.
You know that robot stuff wasn't real, don't you? That's not really him. He's not got a robot face.
No, I'm just saying he's massive. You bugger.
You know that the arm isn't
Oh
real,
my god,
don't
please
you?
stop. But I love there's definitely RoboCop influence in the makeup effects, like the way his face is kind of wrapped around the robotics on his neck.
There's lots of movie referencey kind of things in this. Like, there's a big...
Yeah, I mean, Terminator's a huge one.
Terminator, RoboCop, Back to the Future 3.
Robot, certain position in human history, here to wipe out someone who's involved in, we think, like, he's been sent to kill someone, then we realise it's a revenge mission to kill people that did this to him.
Yeah. And hundreds of others. Sorry, I'm itching my eye.
The Back to the Future Part 3, like, vibes.
The guy measuring him.
Yeah, the Undertaker!
Measuring him for the...
The Undertaker measuring the Doctor! Yes. That is Back to the Future Part 3 and Blazing Saddles vibes, like, all over. And then, obviously, the idea of someone in the town inventing things that aren't ready to be invented for that town.
There wasn't a giant ice machine.
No. And nobody called him Yeller. But
there was a guy who looked just like Seamus McFly.
What, the young kid who's... That face-off outside the marshal's office, outside the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
At night, where like the young guy comes along and he's like, just step. All you got to do is just take a walk. When the Doctor's become the sheriff after Isaac dies, he's like, all you got to do is just take a walk, and when you come back, it'll all be over. Because he's basically saying, we're going to kill
him. Yeah.
Carla Jex. Like, we're going to kill Jex. And the Doctor's like facing off. And there's that bit where the Doctor like he moves his jacket aside, reveals his gun, like Isaac's gun.
For some reason, I thought.
And he never grabs it, but he's making that point of like, do you really want to do that? And the guy's like, you'll never. Like, you won't kill me. And the Doctor's like, no, I won't. Like, but don't push me to, like, have to face you for this. You do the right thing.
I'm surprised that he even put the gun on.
I think it was more the fact that he was assuming the mantle of the Marshal.
I'd remembered him having put his sonic screwdriver in it. I don't know why.
No.
But he's so against guns.
No, he has it in later, because, like, when he draws against the gunslinger, he pulls out his sonic screwdriver and sets off that sonic thing, the thing that disables him briefly. But when it's the face-off outside the Marshal's office at night, it is the gun. But he never touches it, he just shows it. Do you know what I mean? It's just that whole thing of, like, are we doing this? Are you going to make me do this? Because I won't shoot you. Like, I won't do it. You will win. But then he has that whole thing of, like, you're what, like 19, like the war ended a couple of years before, Civil War ended, a couple of years before, you would have been old enough to have one of those. It's like, I bet you've never killed anyone. It's like, it was the first time for everything. It's like, yeah, but don't be like Jex. Don't be like him. Because I love the notion, I love the fact that it's an unfurling mystery. So, a western town, and there is a ghost showing up on the outskirts of the town that won't cross this really simple barrier of stones that they've put up. It refuses to cross, and it demands the alien Doctor. And every now and again, the timer on its tolerance gets lower, and anyone who steps out gets killed.
Yeah.
So everyone stays in the town, and he's like, eventually it's just going to come to the town and kill everybody.
What is it?
And you think that what's happened is it's just this thing's chased him here, it's killed someone else, and it's going to kill this guy. And then we learn that, yeah, he wants to kill him because the dude they're hiding is a war criminal who was a scientist who
butchered people
and created cyborgs to fight in a war that they were in. And then toward the end, a bunch of the cyborgs toward the end of the war started to realise what they were. Again, the plot of RoboCop starts to realise what they are.
Well, as far as I know, I did accidentally fall asleep.
Do you remember the bit where he goes back to his home and everything, and there's no one there, and he's just
is it covered in plastic?
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep just after that.
Well, I know what binge we're doing next.
So sorry.
So it's so good, but I love that they've done that, but what the scientists did in response to the scientists in the military is they just decommissioned them, i.e. they executed them as much as they could. But this one got away and has been hunting down the scientists who did this ever since. Because it is dealing with that difficult thing of war, that whole thing of turning people into soldiers to fight in a war that ultimately they never chose to happen. They never chose to be a part of it. They're made to fight in it. Yeah. And in this case, they have their humanity torn out of them to be a weapon.
He has a scary robot voice.
It's a great robot voice. Do you know what he feels like? And I don't mean this as an insult. He feels like a Red Dwarf character.
Oh my god, he does.
Do you know what I mean? When they get really weird with their concepts, he feels like a. Oh my god, what's he called? There's that one that's like a murderer. It's in DNA. Do you remember? Because I'm talking about RoboCop because Lister literally turns into RoboCop in that, but he's tiny.
Oh yeah.
Is it in that one? Is it in DNA? I don't know if it's in DNA.
I can't think. Which one?
I don't think it's in DNA, but you can picture who I'm talking about. There's a guy who's he's pasty and he's got he looks like a Borg, but he's sort of like a pirate version of a Borg.
I can see who you're talking about.
Which story is he in? I'm sure it's Series 4, Series 5.
I probably looked at it and thought,
he might have been in DNA. Because I know in DNA at the end they fight the curry that's mutated into a creature, and he kills it with lager. Do you remember he throws the lager that starts to burn in the lager? Of course, lager. The only thing that can kill a Vindaloo! And he throws a can into its mouth and shoots the can. The Vindaloo beast. God, I love Red Dwarf. But do you know what I mean? Whenever they do things like cyborgs or whatever, there's that kind of really butchered look to them. The idea that they've just kind of been forced.
It almost looks like they've been sewn into. And
it's got a little bit of, again, I don't mean this as an insult, it's got a little bit of a Party City fashion Halloween costume vibe to it in a way. Same with Star Trek TNG, the 90s Star Trek stuff. A lot of the creatures, things like the Borg and whatnot, look a bit Halloween costumey. Not as in they look naff, but as in, oh wow, so you take a person as a template and you add this to them and you add that to them.
Oh, like the villain in Captain EO.
I know you're joking, but yeah.
No, I know.
Angelica Houston in Captain EO.
I'm being serious.
The really, really, really weird Disney theme park ride. Look it up. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. But yeah, that kind of the Borg logic, the Borg logic in terms of the costumes. Yeah. Oh god.
Sorry.
Like a good version of the Pirate Planet villain from Tom Baker's era. Where it didn't look right.
Yeah.
But if you just took that and used makeup to kind of blend it in and make it like the flesh is over parts of the machine, and the Gunslinger looks like that weird, obvious action figure-y sci-fi concept.
Yeah.
But it looks good. That's not me saying the others look naff. It looks good. He doesn't feel like he's from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But he belongs in it at the same time. I like the fact that it's about the complication and the morality around war and what it really means to, do the right thing or convince yourself you've done the right, or convincing yourself you've done the right thing.
I think he looks like a nightmare.
Okay.
I'm scared of robots.
But do you sympathise with him at the end when you realise
I sympathise with
the moment you learn what he is?
No, I'm turning into a robot. I sympathise with him completely because it's talked about that he had a family.
Yeah.
Okay, and what's the
Jex?
Jex was saying, you could go back and you could live your life again.
And he's like, I don't want that.
I'm a monster. They'd be scared of me.
The fact that when Jex kills himself, because Jex is finally kind of Jex is sort of... he doesn't redeem himself, but he does the right thing in the end, because he's like, what I've done, I do need to be punished for this. But the least I can do is stop other people being hurt by my mistake.
Well, I think...
And he apologises to him as well, doesn't he? And
Yeah,
the time
he
I think he's like, I'm sorry for what I did to you.
Yeah.
And then he blows himself up because he knows as long as he's alive, this guy's going to come after him.
But
He's
also,
going to hurt him.
But also he's...
And that other people will get hurt.
Yeah, he's putting other people in danger.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in that town, and he's giving them electricity, and
he's helped cure diseases there that there aren't cures for
yet.
yet.
He's also slowly killing them because they can't get supply carts through.
Yeah.
They can't get in or out.
There's a ticking clock.
Yeah, so he's the reason.
And what's going to happen? He's going to murder people. He'll escape in it. He'll repair his ship and escape in it, or he'll go to another town.
He's the ultimate villain. No, he's
not. No, he
makes
the ultimate sacrifice.
But he is a villain.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy.
No, he's done horrible things, and he justifies them
just so they'll hide him.
Yes, it's and he's right in a way that he's like, I did what I did so we could fight for peace, and here I am finding my own peace, and I'm looking after these people. But the Doctor, of course, is like, yeah, but you're also choking them slowly by cutting off their supplies and bottling them in this town.
Bottling them, nice phrase.
And then that whole thing of once Jex dies, the gunslinger's like, right, I'm going to go off into the desert and self-destruct. I'm going to kill myself. The Doctor's like, and I love that that's the Doctor's resolution. He's like, the town needs a marshal. So the gunslinger now just hangs out in the desert land around Mercy.
He has a purpose.
Yeah, and you realise the voiceover at the beginning is like a little girl, the one you see in the church. Mm. It's her grown up talking about how like they have a special arrangement in Mercy.
That kid ruined everything. Could have got 10 people killed.
I forgot
in the church where
she grew up to sing. No, she was in closing time. Anyway, the point is...
I don't think the Wild West lasted that long.
I like the ideological fight between Amy, Rory and the Doctor, or rather, Rory and the Doctor and Amy, where the Doctor and Rory are like, this guy needs to pay for what he's done.
Yeah.
And they're understandably angry, because Jex just took Amy hostage at gunpoint and threatened to kill her to make his escape.
Yeah.
But the fact that even after that, Amy's like, you can't just hand him over to his death. And you can see the Doctor is getting enraged. This is building subtly on what the God complex... That, again, like with Chibnall, with the last one, with the Silurian connection, this is Whithouse building on what the God complex does, what he does in that story, where he basically is like, I'm going to get you killed one day. So, I send you home now.
Yeah.
Here, because remember he says, like, I'm doing this because this is for everyone who's ever died because of me letting them live. The Daleks, the Master, the Side... Like, he names them, doesn't he? He's like, everyone who they've ever killed because I let them get away with being around.
He's very angry.
Yeah. Smith plays...
Oh, no!
Smith plays Righteous Fury so well. Because that's the moments... Those are the moments where you really see that the Doctor is old and he's tired. Like, he is so tired now.
Yeah.
He blames himself for a lot of the death that's happened around him or on his watch, even if it's out of his immediate control, because now he's starting to wonder about whether or not he should just be taking bad guys off the table, like, immediately. There's a very subtle arc to Smith's Doctor here that I think gets abandoned the moment we get to the Snowmen. And it becomes about the Clara mystery, the Impossible Girl mystery. I think it sort of gets abandoned, but there's a subtle arc for Smith's Doctor throughout Series 6 and 7, Part 1, about him feeling like he should maybe be crossing the line more to keep more people safe, but knowing that that's so against who he is. It's such a struggle for him. Like, here he gives Amy the benefit of the doubt, and is like, we'll do it your way, because he knows that ultimately she's right.
Yeah.
Even if what he needs to do might save more people. What Amy's saying is right.
Yeah.
And she's learnt that from him.
I like...
Big butts and I cannot lie.
True that. No, I like the I like the ongoing thing that the Doctor becomes harsher when he's not been with
Yeah, she says this is what happens when you don't have someone with you for a while.
That's been going on for so long now, hasn't it? That
Back in Runaway Bride.
Exactly. But
like when he first meets Donna, she says, find someone with you because you're scary on your own.
I mean, Martha and...
Oh, no, that's pre-Martha. The Runaway Bride is just before he meets Martha.
Oh, Runaway Bride, sorry.
Because Donna, like, he nearly drowns... drowning the Rachnos and killing the Rachnos, which then turn left confirms would have happened if Donna wasn't there and hadn't been the one to pull him out of there.
And I really like that. It was just a subtle line.
Yeah.
But it means a lot if you've been watching for ages.
Friends make him better.
Yeah.
And the bitter pill of that is that eventually his friends will die or leave or age.
But it also makes you think...
he doesn't want to see that anymore. He doesn't want that anymore. They stop him from... The older he gets, the harder it is to remain a moral compass. And a lot of people have an issue with that sometimes. They go, no, the Doctor should always be the hero. And I'm like, cool, but if they were just like the stalwart, like, you know, I will always do the right thing and that's how it will always be written.
Yeah.
And me being that will always mean the scripts are written so everything works out okay no matter what. Would be stale. For a character who's now lived over 1,200 years as far as they're aware, like... They would be learning things about themselves. They would be challenged. Yeah. And this story looks into that morality. Like Jex is a mirror of him in a way. You have that whole thing of like, I can see a look on your face like you've had to do things for the great. Like Jex said to him, like you've had to take life for the greater good before yourself. Like you understand where I'm coming from. And the difference between them is the Doctor's like, yeah, but you seem to be sadistically happy about what you did. And by the end, Jex realizes that it's weird that I'm proud of what I did. Like I am ashamed, but I'm pretending I'm not. Whereas the Doctor's like, yeah, I'm ashamed of every life I've ever taken. Even if it meant saving other people, I'm ashamed of it.
It also makes you think. Sorry.
It makes you think.
I got wool on my nose. It also makes you think, what kind of person would he be if he were without companions for too long?
We're not too long away from seeing a story where he self-imposes a retirement upon himself so that he can never find that out. But for now, for these 3 stories,
ouch,
I really enjoyed 2 of them.
Yeah,
and it was the Chibnall and Whithouse stories overall.
Yeah.
Madam,
what year is this? What are you doing?
Madam, what year is this?
Get off of my sweets that are for customers.
What do you guys think of Asylum of the Daleks, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, and A Town Called Mercy? Let us know in the comments down below. Do you feel the same as us? Do you feel differently? We'd like to hear from you. Thank you. Bye, Jing. We'll see you next time for a very short episode, because we're only looking at 2 episodes. So we'll see you soon for The Power of 3, which you remember nothing of.
I don't even know.
But we have got some fascinating stuff to talk about with that one. And The Angels Take Manhattan.
I remember that.
The mid-series finale.
Miss, what are you doing?
Until then, the dog's causing chaos. Until then, good bike.
Good yen.
Good yin.
Bye.